Hey guys, uh, excuse the lateness of this video. I meant to have this during the meeting times on Monday. Unfortunately, I had some difficulties with my laptop, my school laptop, yesterday. But I tried recording this on my tablet yesterday, and apparently the sound wasn't there. I didn't record the sound, and then I did it twice more without the sound as well. So hopefully third time's the charm. Uh, well, fourth time really. Okay, so we're going to be talking about algebra, the TEKS for algebra 2, 7C. Okay, basically students are expected to determine the quotient, that just means the division. You guys know how to divide. Of a polynomial of degree 3 and of degree 4 whenever divided by a polynomial of degree 1 and of degree 2. Okay, in case you don't remember, your degree is just the degree of a polynomial is just basically the highest exponent of the polynomial. Okay, so if you have something that looks like this, your highest exponent in this case is 4. Therefore, your polynomial is of degree 4. Okay, that has nothing to do with the number of terms, just that exponent. Okay, so if you have a degree of 3 polynomial, your highest exponent is 3, even though this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Okay, so it might be a little bit misleading. Okay, the next one, the same thing. It's a quadratic one. It has degree 2, but it has 3 terms. And then finally, the last one. This one has degree 1, even though the exponent is not there. Anytime you have a value without an exponent, it means it has a degree of 1. In this case, this polynomial has a degree 1. It's a linear term. Okay, so let me go ahead and write that down. This is a quartic function. This is a cubic function. This is a quadratic function, and this is a linear function. Okay, so anytime I refer to a quartic function, I mean degree 4 polynomial. Anytime I refer to a cubic function, I refer to the degree 3 polynomial. If I refer to a degree 2 function, I will say quadratic. And if I refer to a linear function, it just means a degree of 1 polynomial. Okay, so you can always come back to see which one of these I mean, or you can always go back to one of the older videos to see what I mean as well. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so dividing polynomials. Okay, whenever you're dividing polynomials, you want to remember that whenever you're dividing numbers, you're going to get remainders. So let's say we have something like 7 divided by, oh, don't worry about that, 7 divided by like 3. Okay, well, 7 divided by 3 is 2. If I take 2 times 3, that gives me 6. I subtract them, I get 1. Okay, now 1 doesn't fit into 3. Or 3 doesn't fit into 1, I mean. Well, at this point, we can either say we have a remainder of 1, but our final value is actually, our answer is actually just 2 divided 2 and 1/3. That's what our values would be. Okay, now for polynomials, it's going to work very similarly. We are going to have remainders, and then whenever we have a remainder, you're just going to divide by your divisor. Okay, so this is 2 and 1/3. But with polynomials, we're going to have like functions. Okay. Oh, if you notice, your remainder is always going to be a value that is less than your divisor. Now, whenever you're working with functions, your remainder, whatever goes on top here, is always going to be at least 1 degree less than the degree of your divisor. So let's say we had something like we were dividing by a value that looked like this. Okay. Well, then your remainder will have a degree that is smaller than 2. So it can either be of degree 1 or it can be of degree 0. Okay, normally you want to treat it like long division, with the exception of dividing by one term. Okay, so this is long division. Okay, so normally we would want to do that, but if we only have one term, it's a lot easier to do. Okay, and one term is just like x squared or x power of 3 or 3x or 2x squared, something like that. Okay, those are all examples of one term. Okay, even though it has an exponent, even though it has a number in front of it, or a coefficient, I mean. Okay, when terms are missing, we want to rewrite them with a 0 as a coefficient. Okay, so what do I mean by terms missing? Okay, well, if you have a degree of 2 polynomial, then you have to have 3 terms. You have to have the term with degree 1. You have to have the term with degree 0. Okay, so here's an example. If we have x squared plus 10, this is the same thing as writing down x squared plus 0x plus 10. Okay, even though it's not written down in here, whenever we start doing long division, you do want to write it in. And basically that's what we're going to be doing whenever we have more than one, whenever we're dividing by more than one term. So if we were to divide by like x plus 1 or x squared plus 3 or something like that, or x squared plus x plus 1, if we were to divide by something like this, then we would actually really need these values. Okay, they'd help us organize, but also they make the problem a little smoother in the end. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so dividing by one term, this is what I want to talk about first. We have 4x power of 3 minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 5. Notice that I put parentheses around the whole thing, and then we're dividing by this divisor. This one doesn't actually need parentheses because, well, it's only one term. Okay, so I could have just said divided by 2, honestly, there. But I want to try it out with variables as well, so that you guys can see what happens to the x's over time. Okay, so what this means is that everything is being divided by 2x squared. So the 4x cubed, the minus 5x squared, the 2x, and 5. Okay, I rewrote it over here. Okay, so everything gets divided by 2x squared. Okay. All right, so since everything gets divided by 2x squared, it's okay to separate this out. Okay, so we have 4x to the power of 3 divided by 2x squared. And then minus 5x squared divided by 2x squared, plus 2x divided by 2x squared, and then plus 5 divided by 2x squared. Okay, basically I'm keeping the signs as they are right here. Okay, the first thing you want to do to simplify this, because this is not our final answer, is to actually divide the values out. Okay, 4 divided by 2, well, that's just equal to 2. X power of 3 divided by x power of 2, well, easiest way of thinking about this is that, let's say you have 3 x's on top, you have 2 x's at the bottom being multiplied together. Or if you have 1 x on the top, you have 1 x at the bottom, they cancel out. If you have another x at the top, you have another x at the bottom, they cancel out. You're only left with 1, so you write it in. Okay, if it's on top, you write it, you just write it next to your value. If it's part of the denominator, meaning it's at the bottom, well then in that case you write it down as your denominator. It doesn't switch spots just because you're trying to simplify everything. All right, so let me move on to the next one. Okay, so we have a minus there, so I'm going to go ahead and write that in. We have 5 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Okay, you can leave it as 5 divided by 2 as well, because that's simplified improper fraction. X squared divided by x squared, well, we have 2 x's on top, we have 2 x's at the bottom. They both cancel each other out. So we're left with a constant. Constant is just a value with no x next to it. Okay, so we get minus 2.5 there. Okay, so this is an important thing. Once you get to your constant value, oops, not highlighter. once you get to your constant value, the rest of it will be your remainder. Okay, so 2x and 5, those are going to be part of our remainder. You just got to combine them together. Positive 2x plus 5 becomes 2x plus 5. And we're going to divide this by the divisor, 2x squared. Okay, so this is our remainder. Well, the part on top is 2x plus 5. This is our final answer. But we can actually go the extra step of rewriting it just a little bit more to simplify it a little bit. Okay, normally this is a good enough answer, but sometimes, maybe during an SAT test, you're going to have multiple choices where you might not find this answer. Okay, in that case, you might want to simplify the rest of the values a little bit more. Okay, 2x plus 5, 2x minus 2.5 is already okay. Okay, there's no other way of simplifying that part for now. Okay, but the 2x plus 5 divided by 2x squared can be simplified. I'm going to keep going with the fractions. I'm going to change color here. Okay, and I'm going to take my values and I'm just going to divide them. I'm going to take positive 2 divided by 2, which gives me 1. And then because we have one x on top, we have two x's at the bottom. Only one of them cancels out, meaning that this becomes 1 divided by x. For the next one, we have 5 divided by 2x squared. Well, we're going to divide the values again. Okay, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Okay, since we have x squared at the bottom, x squared right here, we have nothing on top. Nothing gets canceled out, but the x squared stays at the bottom. Okay, so this is another good, correct answer. These are both the same, but for your homework, I prefer that you keep them as this. Okay, so for your assignment, which is already on Microsoft Teams, you want to stop at this point. Okay, it's not that many questions. Just make sure that you're doing correctly. If you guys need any help, I don't mind you guys sending me a message and asking for help, especially during the assigned meeting times. Okay, I noticed that I did not give you guys as much time as the rest, so I'm going to go ahead and change those up again. And by the way, I'm giving extra points for you guys meeting during the meeting times. Okay, I'm not going to make it a grade because I know that not everyone is able to watch them at that specific time, but I will give you extra points for meeting up during that time. All right, so let me go ahead and move on to the next question. Okay, so right here we have 4x power of 3 minus 16x squared plus 4x plus 20 divided by 4x. Okay, so just like before, everything is being divided by that term. What do I mean? Well, if all of this gets divided by 4x, well, then we can just write it down as that. 4x cubed divided by 4x. Negative 16x squared divided by 4x. Plus 4x divided by 4x. And then plus 20 divided by 4x. Okay. Here, this term is of degree 1. Okay. Degree equals to 1. 4x power of 3. Oh, sorry. I meant to mention this. I mentioned degree. Since it's of degree 1, our remainder can only be of degree 0. Okay. It always has to be less than the degree that it currently has. You cannot have degree of -1. You cannot have degree of negative values, because otherwise that would make it, that wouldn't be a polynomial. Okay. So 4x power of 3 divided by 4x. Negative 16x squared divided by 4x plus 4x divided by 4x plus 20 divided by 4x. We're going to go ahead and do the same things I did before. We're going to divide the values first for each one. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 equals to 1. Okay, x cubed divided by x, well, there's 3 x's on top. There's 2 x's at the bottom. So we'll cancel out whatever we can. We cancel out 2 x's, therefore only 1 x remains. So we have 1 x. Let me choose a different color for this actually, make it a bit more clear. Okay, so we get 1 x for our first term. Then our second term, negative 16 divided by 4, well, that equals to negative 4. We're going to go ahead and divide the x's. Since we only have 2 on top, we have 1 at the bottom. We cancel these out. Whoops. I made a mistake earlier. Sorry about that. I just caught it right now. So for x power of 3, we still do get the 1. But x power of 3 means we have 3 x's on top. We only have 1 x at the bottom. So only one of them cancels out. Okay, this leaves us with 2 x's on top. This means that we have 1 x squared. For the next term, that one was right. We have 2 x's on top, 16x squared. We only have 1 x at the bottom. So only one of them cancels out, and we're left with minus 4x. The next term, we divide the values. 4 divided by 4. That's 1. And because we have 1 x on the top, we have 1 x at the bottom. They cancel each other out. Okay. Finally, once we're at the constant term, the rest of it is our remainder, meaning that 20 divided by 4x is going to be our remainder for the meantime. This is our final answer. This is how I want you guys to write down your answers in your assignment. Okay. Make sure that you divide, and then those last terms you can leave as they are. I'm still going to go the extra mile and simplify that last term, that remainder. But like I said, you guys don't have to. Okay. Now 20 divided by 4 is equal to 5. And then because we only have an x at the bottom, that stays at the bottom. So we have 1x squared minus 4x plus 1 plus 5 divided by x. These are both good answers. Okay, next question. Okay, let's say we have something like this. We have 5x power of 3 minus 15x squared plus 60x plus 30, and we want to divide it by 15x squared. Okay, this is still divided by one term, so everything is still going to be divided by the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it so that it looks like that. Okay, divided by 15x squared, the same thing here. Because this is of degree 2, our remainder can only be of degree 1 or of degree 0. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the rest. Oof, these people are annoying. That's not you guys. It's the other teachers. 5 divided by 15. Okay, so 5 divided by 15. Well, 15 doesn't fit into 5 any times, but this is a fraction. Okay, I can simplify it. 5 divided by 15 is the same thing as saying 1/3. Okay, x power of 3 and x power of 2. Well, that's 3 x's on top, 2 x's at the bottom, and 2 will cancel out on the top and bottom, giving me 1x. Okay, so 1/3 x. Negative 15x squared divided by 15x squared. Well, let's take negative 15 divided by negative 15. That's equal to negative 1. So minus 1 is what you want to write down here. X squared divided by x squared. Well, 2x is on top, 2x is at the bottom. And they both cancel out. Okay, this could have been obvious because we have the same thing on top of the same thing. But if it helps you guys out, then go ahead and do this. You know, like it shouldn't be embarrassing. It's how the math is done regardless. Okay. If you know your exponent rules, then even better. I applaud you. 1/3 x minus 1, we're at the constant. We don't have an x there because they cancel each other out. So the rest of it is our remainder. So that means 60x plus 30, all of it divided by 15x squared is our remainder in this case. This is a good final answer. Now, I'm still going to go that extra mile and show you guys how to simplify the rest of them just in case it does ever come up on an SAT test or like a STAR test in case you haven't taken it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and divide the terms first. 60 divided by 15 is equal to 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. It's a positive 4. So I'm going to write down plus 4. X divided by x squared. Well, there's only one x on top. There's two x's at the bottom. Only one of them cancels out, and you're left with one x at the bottom. So we're going to leave that as the denominator. For the last one, we do the same thing. 30 divided by 15. Well, that's just equal to 2. And since we only have x squared as our part of our denominator, and we have no x's in the numerator, none of them cancel out. So our denominator stays the same. Okay. This is also a good answer, a simplified answer to the one above. Right. So again, like I said, this is how I want you guys to do your work on my assignment. But if you want to do it like this is fine too. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So this one I actually made a mistake in. I did not put my parentheses. Okay. So if you don't have that parentheses on there, what this would have meant is this. 22x squared plus 8x plus 10 divided by 2x. Only the last term would get divided in that case if I did not have the parentheses. Okay, this problem would be too easy. It would be too quick. So I'm going to go ahead and change the question to have those parentheses. Okay, meaning that everything gets divided by 2x. Okay. So 22x squared divided by 2x plus 8x divided by 2x plus 10 divided by 2x. Okay. Because we have a degree of 1, our solution, our remainder, if we have one, can only be of degree 0, meaning that it can only be a constant or just a value without an x next to it. Okay, 22x squared divided by 2x. Well, first divide the numbers. 22 divided by 2. That gives me 11. X squared divided by x. Well, there's two x's on top. There's one x at the bottom. Only one of them cancels out, so we get 11x. The next term, we divide the numbers again. Positive 8 divided by 2. That's equal to 4. Yep. X divided by x, so we cancel those out. And we're at the constant term. This means that the rest of it is our remainder. 10 divided by 2x. There goes our answer. Okay. Now for the simplified version. 11x plus 4 is still correct. And then we just divide the numbers. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So it'll be plus 5. Because the x is part of the denominator, it's going to stay there. Doesn't cancel out with anything. So this is another good answer as well. Okay, whether you write it one way or the other, it doesn't quite matter. All right. So I think I'm going to stop it there. I went over the stuff I think I wanted to make clear. But like I said, make sure that you're doing your homework. Please tell your friends to do their work. I've noticed that a lot of you guys have logged in, so I gave you guys grades. But you have not done any of the work, which is bad. How are you going to pass the semester without it? I know that it's going to be hard because of the adjustment, but you're gonna be able to adjust. It's not that hard. You've been using laptops your whole life. You've been using laptops in class for no reason, I guess. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys can adjust to starting to do the work online. Uh, if you guys need any extra resources, please let me know. I can try to make some handouts for you guys to be able to look at. I'll try to put them on the hub if you need me to. If you prefer to have it on the hub, I'll put it on there. But I'm trying to use Microsoft Teams because the app seems pretty good as a way of submitting classwork on there. I've already started using the assignments uh, tab, I don't know what to call it, function on it. That way you guys can turn in your homework on Microsoft Teams instead of having to send it to me to remind. This way it helps me be a little bit more organized and you guys can get your grades a bit quicker. Okay, well, uh, I guess I'll leave it off at that. Uh, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.